I remember something funny about Madonna's song. Some of the lyrics was saying, "I'm living out the American dream." And some people translated it in French as "I'm living outside the American dream."
Yeah.
And that's where I learned that living out the meaning of this phrasal verb.
Yeah.
And because I met it in this song, I cannot forget the meaning of living out. I know for the rest of my life the meaning of this phrasal verb, and it didn't took me any second of any effort of any kind to remember.
Hello guys, this is Daniel. Thanks for tuning in to my Fluent podcast. This show is meant to inspire you and to give you tips and tricks on how to become fluent in any language. Can we learn languages with the help of songs? Or how to learn English with music? This is the topic we will tackle on this episode of my Fluent podcast. Welcome back. And this is actually a new series called Let's Podcast Together. The idea behind that is every now and then I will try to discuss a different language related topic with my listeners because I really love the idea to bring the listener closer to the show. And besides that, I think in general learning together is way better than learning alone. But now let's see what our listeners think about the idea to learn languages or English with the help of music.
Do you use this method? Definitely. I love learning English through music. It's one of my favorite methods indeed.
Do you use this method? Actually not, because listening to music for me is just my personal amusement. So I don't use songs for this purpose.
To be honest, I am in debt to a lot of music bands, especially 80s and 90s electronic pop music groups.
I never thought of songs as a mean to learn English. I always pick a song I like. At some point, I realize I would like to sing along, so I go to my browser and try to find the lyrics.
May I introduce Marcello from Chile?
I feel I have learned some vocabulary, pronunciation, and one of the main reasons is that somehow there are loads of songs that are like tongue twisters, right? Everything seems to look as it should, but I wonder what goes on behind. A fella looking up, but he's sitting with a slap, and then I see he's up and he's crack. Well, that's an example, right? Definitely like a tongue twister. I remember that this song demanded me a lot of effort. That one is really fast. So I have been learning songs by heart for long, and I really loved it. And it also improves my listening a lot. Since I have started with this method, I've developed a skill of listening. So it's really useful as well, both for listening, for speaking, pronunciation, right? Well, disadvantage is that, well, it could be a little bit hard, right? And it could take you some more time. I go to YouTube and look up to the lyrics on Google. Karaoke is so fun. It definitely helps. The main help it does is improving your reading, right? Because when you sing karaoke, you are reading, right? Well, if you manage to do it really well and you kind of know the song roughly, it could be really good. If I don't know the song that much, it only turns into a reading practice. And well, reading is one of the four pillars of English: reading, writing, speaking, listening. But the most challenging thing generally is speaking and listening. More speaking, right? More speaking, because nowadays we have a lot of chances to listen to English. Okay. Thank you very much, Daniel.
Roberto from Italy.
Well, I think we can all improve very little through songs. Very, very little, which is better than nothing. But on the whole, expecting to improve our English only through songs implies that we are able to basically to learn by heart. Okay. And this is always wrong and I'd say unnatural because we don't learn our native language through poetry. You listen to, you are focused on the music because you like the melody, and then you try to understand the lyrics, which may be hindered by the background noise, by the accompaniment music. Okay, so I'd say you can get very little from this type of approach. When I was a teen, my fun was translating songs from English. And in a way, it helped. And I did well at school as well. On YouTube, you can find a bunch of videos that explain English through songs. It may be helpful. Do you sing karaoke? Well, Daniel, I really started with the chat box. I had a lot of guts because my voice is really bad, really bad. But this type of exposure, especially when you are not good at something, like me at singing, this exposure really helps to ignore the other's opinion, especially when negative. It's like speaking without knowing much of the language. You don't care to make a bad impression. Okay, Daniel, it was a pleasure. Thank you. Ciao.
Helen from France.
I play the song 1 time, 5 times, 10 times, 20 times, as many times as I want to, and I sing along. Sometimes I try to record myself, find it disastrous, and listen to the song again.
So this is
And
actually a method that you are using right now, or was it back
it's
some years ago?
I do it from time to time. I won't call it a method. It's just a thing I like to do for fun. And when I read the lyrics, sometimes I will say, oh, I know those words, but in this context, that doesn't make sense. I want to look it up in the dictionary. So along the way, I'm learning some vocabulary. I can search for idioms. I can search for meanings, look for a grammar topic and say, oh, that's an interesting structure. And after I've listened to the song many times, some grammar structure, some word, just a few of the songs stick into my head. And that's vocabulary I will remember for the rest of my life. So that's why I love, one of the many reasons I love songs so much.
Yeah, because you can have fun and at the same time you can learn English.
But I'm not learning, I'm not studying. It's just for fun.
Yeah, I see. So it's just a side effect. And I suppose that there are songs that you won't learn a lot because maybe the text or the lyrics are dumb or are...
Maybe there's not much lyrics at all.
Yeah. So what are some other disadvantages of learning with songs or music?
There's always a risk to learn bad grammar. In a lot of Anglo-Saxon songs, they just put words together because that sounds well, not because that makes sense. I picked some examples for you. What a surprise, an Elton John song. And it goes like this: take me to the pilot, lead me to the chamber, take me to the pilot, I am but a stranger. What does that mean? Even Bernie Taupin said it in an interview that he doesn't know what this means. He wrote the song, he doesn't know the meaning.
Okay, that is quite interesting.
Because he said something like 70 or 80% of what he wrote, it is his own words, doesn't mean anything.
Okay, I see.
And the second example is taken from a Justin Timberlake song called Can't Stop the Feeling. Nowhere to hide when I'm getting you close. When you move, well, you already know.
Yeah.
There's a part of sentences put together that doesn't mean anything, but everyone sings along, everyone enjoy it. So you have to be conscious about that before you start learning with songs. That can be an issue if your level is really low. Some songs are better for learning English than others. Because there are songs that really tell the story. They are better. I remember something funny about Madonna's song. Some of the lyrics was saying, "I'm living out the American dream," and some people translated it in French as, "I'm living outside the American dream."
Yeah.
And that's where I learned that living out the meaning of this phrasal verb.
Yeah.
And because I met it in this song, I cannot forget the meaning of living out. I know for the rest of my life the meaning of this phrasal verb, and it didn't took me any second of any effort of any kind to remember it. Isn't that wonderful?
Yes, that is beautiful.
I love songs. I love songs.
You were learning it automatically and you still remember it.
Yeah,
That's why I strongly believe that, yes, you definitely can improve your language skills with songs and music, whether it's in a passive way or whether it's in an active way.
of course.
Juan from Spain.
My language is full of the lyrics. Maybe the Depeche Mode is the guilty of that. Although there are many other music groups that brought me tons of words and expressions. It's a way to boost my language, and in this way I can relax my mind. I have not to think in grammar or pronunciation for a while. I recognize that my language sometimes is a little bit odd or maybe too much poetic. Yeah, but that's how my English goes. And this last sentence, "that's how my English goes," belongs to a lyric, the Depeche Mode lyrics. "That's how my love goes." And in this way, I can use in several ways, in several situations and diverse situations. For example, "that's how my summer goes." It's there are hundreds of pieces of language that I take from lyrics. It's a way that I have not to think about prepositions, collocations. That's all for now. Thanks. Your approach to this subject, it's amazing. I really like that. Thanks. Bye bye.
But what I really liked in what you were proposing is you wrote the question in advance. So I could prepare a little. I didn't scripted anything. I did wrote some sentences, but I'm not reading it at the moment. It really helped me to level down to my stress level, feel more relaxed, and to think of some grammar structure I will be able to use or maybe not think that much. Thank you, Daniel. Thank you for what you said about the ideas I have about learning with songs, and thank you for making this possible. Goodbye, Daniel.
Goodbye, Helen.